Erdogan, stating that he could return to the path of threats in newspaper raiding. Erdogan said that the meaning of the writings of a stipendiary charlatans, those who want to divide the votes of the Alaska Party. Erdogan said Turkey is doing down how they might take account. They no longer do the intellectuals, they are dark, he said. Prime Minister Recep Tayyip Erdogan himself threatened attempt Erdogan holding honorary chairman aiding Erdogan. You the threat of not regale me. Columnist of what they wrote, author if salaried what the charlatans they wrote, the authors they do not mean anything to me, he said. Presidential complex performed by the At-Saba newspaper Rahab joined live broadcast editor Mehmet Barlas. Erdogan answered questions, made important statements regarding the matters on the agenda. Erdogan media answer: municipal closely with me in my presidential term, although it does not remotely do. I was told that my personality Sultan Bailey for my villa. When? During the nomination process began and continued after him. And of course also in the process at that time he stepped on show TV with it. In a very friendly nature of the administrative team at the moment, there is no need to give a name, but both husband and wife are in the media world and insults are a lot of them advanced. Although it is not too remotely to do with me, they made me do it. I also had the hard output, they withdrew. Then I got the mayor of Istanbul. But they finish this job, you know they have posted a new step, continuous, they continue it. The second is how we cut the front steps of this process their way to the Prime Minister, it came right down to it. My 4.5-year process had been mayor, it was known at that very title absurd known process. The same newspaper. Namely explain some columnists have I will explain them by name when they needed the time comes. They were doing follow-up work in Ankara, even as they were taking appointments. We sit, we talk, but we continue to look at them the same way. Ben Kasimpa. Ali we, Conrad speak we sat in the hotel. See you guys tried very late Ozil, the number of Demirel single quote Ali you worked hard, you tried so hard chance of lady. All were against you as well as possible, but did not want to put some manners. Now do you get up to deal with me? Look, I should grow my cuz. Al. Why born, you get the right but not right I said you cannot even do that. At that time they were illegal because their jobs. I said at the court at the moment, we are waiting for the decision of the finance that work. But I said I expect honesty from you, but they could not. They talk constantly, but I put in front of all the newspapers. Prime Minister arrived at the title you're welcome. You dealing with the columnist wrote articles with my family, what do you have with the family business? But no, still it had the same progress. Salaried charlatans, in bilateral talks speaks true that we want to do that, something we do not interfere with the columnist. And he has said things Erdogan media principles, honesty they supposedly. What to do, everything disappeared. Now he is doing sending me to the editorial. Delivery is regarded as dishonorable when all this was done to the following sentence from the threat shakes. You do what you do, who you gather around the president I have said that I will not recover usual. They do not like me. Regale these threats. If they like what they wrote the columnist writes, the author can write what they are paid quack does not mean anything to me. If I believe what I tell them my nation needs to know them. If exceed HDPE dam, what happens if the situation in southeast exceed the dam? Once Republic of Turkey knows what the task with all power with all the amenities. What once we secure the goods in this country a duty to ensure the safety? Our army, our police force, our nation will not give premium to such a thing. If they dare to take such a step that the huge pay their bills they are not small. Immoral transactions with interview. Immoral. And it becomes whatever comes. No it does not. Last time, the mountain began to be pronounced as follows. A month cannot immorally interview. Immorally when the regulations will make certain calls. States with their own intelligence units making these calls from time to time as needed. When will determine mountains would probably call. They say that the talks could not be held for a month. This means the end of the ceasefire once. Who are you? How do you use such an expression? Governing plans which sets forth as Imrali tabula. TRL. Why is there may come times when messages are set to affect the mountain, occasionally political movement, and they are entering into a time when Europe moves accordingly. We have to take the steps we will take legal framework that we are a state of law. And that this violated its present state by Plan B, Plan C will be put into practice. For it is June 7, it is already breaking process. What would be impossible to tell without seeing anything but what happens from the moment it is very clear that interest will arise. HDP and party into the decision. My knowledge I acquired in the framework of a process that's so far outside the Imrali this once. Away I think he took a decision that the bravery demonstrated outside the back of the mountain, and of course, they cannot have the courage to take their backs. I do not think that's the job of Imrali thought of this size. While in timidity there, currently in southeast Yemen single quote I attended the opening ceremony along with 6 units. Except at Yemen, a timidity in others. You are looking at timidity in Batman. Likewise at insert. They say, we are always under threat. 80 not their dark. HDP for support calls that some authors event how the votes of the Alaska Party. We pointed out that we once more down. I'm not saying they no longer intellectuals. These dark, because to divide Turkey, and in the effort to shred. If they know that this known party remain below the threshold where no third party, there are 2 parties. They have power with the party. How do we divide Turkey at the moment they see it? How do we eliminate the power of power in Turkey? Targets for all this. Without security and stability do not come here with international capital, such that our actual underlying coming in development. But the opposition in Turkey, he is still not solved. If you pay attention to how we are doing it, all the accounts coalitions account. Red parallel American feeding. When we look at the Alaska Party, the political life of our 13-14, we have years of history. But their structure for 40 years, 40 have an annual slate of course, America fled the country, first of all up to a person who left the country in 400 acres of land in installation. There are 160-170 schools in the United States in different places. These schools, which was supported also by the United States, wages schools given by them. If these schools feeding at the moment in this structure, there is a strong mix. We, of course, related to this issue, we took all kinds of steps. Quotes.